North Carolina's governor came to Wilmington and called on state lawmakers to invest more money in public education. Governor Roy Cooper meeting with pre-K teachers and students at the College Road Early Childhood Center. WECT's Zach Solon talked with the governor about his concerns with budgets being proposed by the General Assembly. Now, Zach, Governor Cooper believes that the Republican-led House and Senate should allocate more money to the public schools.
Yeah, John, Governor Cooper says he's concerned about a proposal to expand the state's Opportunity Scholarship program, which allows students to attend private school. One of the bill's sponsors says that plan gives parents more choices on where to send their kids to school. Governor Roy Cooper worries about the future of public schools in North Carolina.
So I've declared a state of emergency in North Carolina when it comes to public education. And that doesn't mean that there's an executive order like we have with a hurricane or a snowstorm, but it is no less important because we're really at a crossroads on what we're going to be doing with our public schools.
During a visit to New Hanover County's College Road Early Childhood Center Thursday, Cooper expressed concern with a bill that would expand the state's private school voucher program.
That means that a millionaire can have a child already in a private academy, and under this legislation they're about to pass, get thousands of dollars of public money for children that they were already going to have in private school.
One of the bill's sponsors is New Hanover County Senator Michael Lee. He says those opportunity scholarships are important.
I just think opportunity scholarships are really a key. Parents and kids need to have that choice and that opportunity. And opportunity scholarships is one key way we can make sure that everyone has those opportunities.
Cooper says the legislation will hurt the state's public schools. Lee disagrees.
We end up saving money in this program, and that money can be used to reinvest in our traditional public school system. And you already see it because we increase funding every single year. And I've been in budget meetings, and we have been working on reinvesting hundreds of millions of more dollars into public education.
Cooper's budget proposes an average 18% salary raise for teachers over the next 2 years. The House budget includes about a 10% raise, the Senate budget a 4.5% raise. After touring the school and meeting with the county's youngest students today, the governor also called on lawmakers to invest more in early childhood education. Zach Solon, WECT News.